send you the link. Okay? So the first thing I want to talk about is just very basic. This is the TI, Texas Instruments 83 Plus. You can see it right up in the upper right-hand corner. And you can see there's all kinds of keys. And actually, I can't see them that well on the screen. But this calculator will do very sophisticated engineering calculations. We don't do those. Okay, so there's a lot of keys and buttons on here that you will never use. So the first thing I want to do is to go over some of these keys and just show you, talk about them a little bit. Okay. If you look at the right-hand side, where I've got the mouse moving there, I've got this thing as high up on the screen as I possibly can, so I can't get it any higher. You can see that you have the basic arithmetic functions: divide, times, subtraction, and addition. Okay? You all know how to do that. You've been doing that since, what, second grade, first grade, something like that. And then you have enter. A lot of these calculations you have to hit enter to cause the calculation to proceed. So on the right, there's not anything that's going to be surprising to anybody. This little thing that looks like a rooftop is called a caret, and we'll show you how to use that. That's something you need to know how to use. Clear clears the string. I put a 5 up on it. Turn it on first. If I put a 5 up on there and then I hit clear, it makes it go away. So that just clears the string. Okay. And if you guys want to take notes, that's fantastic. These white keys are the numbers. Okay. And y'all know how to hit the white keys. There's one thing on here. This calculator is not perfect. It has a slight flaw in it. Okay. In mathematics, it doesn't matter if you put a negative sign in front of a number. That's the same thing as a subtraction sign in math. In this calculator, it is not. If you start out a calculation with, say, a -3, you can't use the subtraction sign over here. You have to use this little white minus. Right? It's a little bit shorter. It's in parentheses. So that's just something to put in the back of your head. Okay. So if I want to do -3 plus 2, do it like that, -1. Watch if I try to put, oops, clear. Okay. See, it won't even let me use that minus.
Just press the back button where the
yeah, it will not let you use the, okay, let me proceed. Okay. So if you try to use that subtraction sign as a negative sign, it will not work. That's not your fault. That's a problem with the calculator. Okay. And what will happen is you'll get an error message. If you do get an error message, just remember, Mr. Van Deelen said to use that other negative sign, so we'll try that. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Okay, so that's the only white key that you really need to be concerned about. This one right here is a decimal point. It's a dot. Okay. Now let's take a look. Let's just go right above these white keys. These are parentheses. You're going to need to do those. You're going to need to use those. And that gives me a good opportunity to talk about doing fractions. You will have to do fractions on the tax test. Okay? And if you have a number like 1 2/3, here's how you put it into the calculator. It would be 1 plus 2 divided by 3. Okay, let's see if that works. If I hit enter, that should convert that to a decimal. See what it did? It converted that to a decimal. Okay. Now, whenever you do a fraction, it's good practice to actually put that fraction in parentheses. So I should actually write that as 1 plus parentheses 2 divided by 3. And another parentheses. Okay. That's the best way to do it. Because sometimes you might get the order of operations mixed up. The calculator knows how to do it right 100% of the time. If you get the order of operations mixed up, your answer will be wrong. So it's very important when you input fractions into the calculator, if you're unsure about what the answer should be, put it in parentheses. So put the fractions in parentheses. It never hurts to put something in parentheses. If they're redundant, the calculator ignores them. If they're needed, well then there you go. Okay, so there's the parentheses. Okay. This right here is a comma. You'll never use it. Okay. Now, of course, there's the on button. Store. We will never use store. That's STO. This right here, ln, is the log of the to the natural base. Or e. You will not use that. This is log to the base 10. You will not use that. X squared, you will use that. You can use that to square a number. Suppose you put 6 in here. Oops, let me clear it off. And if you want to clear the whole screen, just put, there we go. Okay, let's say we're going to square 6. Just hit X squared. Okay, and 36. Okay, so that square button will square whatever you input. Okay, let me show you for a second what this little rooftop means. Okay, there's a number. That's another way to square a number. Okay, 6 rooftop 2, 6 squared. Okay, and 36. So this caret basically allows you to raise numbers 2 powers. Okay, so don't forget that. This x squared right here is a particular power, 2. It only raises the number to 2. So you need to remember what this little caret is, how to use that. Okay, now tangent, cosine, and sine. Some of you may know what those are. Those are trigonometric functions. We will not use them. This x to the minus 1, we will not use it. Clear, of course, it shows you how to use that. Let's clear up those numbers. This VARS, we will not use. PRGM, that's the programming button, we will not use. Apps, that's if you've written an application for the calculator. This is actually a computer, and it will allow you to do an application for it. Some of you may know how to do that. You cannot use applications on the tax test. In fact, before you get into the tax test, we will clear all the memory out of these calculators. Okay. So that's a requirement of the state. So you don't use the 3 middle keys here. Okay. Math, we will use. Let me just hit that for a minute. And I know I'm going over this stuff really fast. Really fast. We have to because we don't have that much time. I was down at Half Price Books down on Northwest Highway in Preston. They have about 8 of these. These are manuals for the calculator. Okay, they're about $5. Okay, I got this one in Houston at a Half Price Books. Especially if you have one of these calculators, or if you're going to download this calculator here, and you want to spend $5 into your Half Price Books, get one of these. These are very easy to read and very helpful. I still read it. There's stuff on here that I don't know how to do, and I'll just read it up in the manual. Yeah. It might be, and actually you can probably download it. So if you Google TI-83 Plus manual, I'll probably get about 15 different things to show right now. You want? All right, so let's look at math. Math has, look at all that stuff. We're going to use some of that stuff. Number 1, fraction, decimal. If I convert a number to a fraction, decimal converts it to a decimal. The rest of the stuff we're not going to use, but to navigate there, see it says 1, 2. Look at the down arrow key. You can just go down with the down arrow key. You can go up with the up arrow key. On the top it says math. If you want to go over to number, just click the right arrow key. And there's things on there that you can use, like this first one is the absolute value. Okay. This is combinations and permutations, which you won't use on the tax test, and that's probability. You will not use that on the tax test. Okay, tax test is not that involved, so you will not use those, but we will use the math keys. So remember that. Now, let me skip that aqua colored key. I guess that's what you call that. Then look at this. It says XT, and then a funny little symbol, and then it says a funny little N. If you want to enter X on the calculator, you can enter it right there with that key. Just press that key. That's X. Okay, we're going to be doing functions, so that's a good way to enter X. Okay. This second key is statistics. We will not use. This top key is delete. Possibly you might use those. Let's look at mode. Okay, probably won't fool with that. That basically sets the parameters of the calculator itself. We're not going to fool around with that, but I just wanted to point out where that was. Okay. So, I showed you how to enter an X. Let's talk about this yellow key and about this aqua key. Okay? We showed you how to enter an X a minute ago. Just hit that key. And that's really the best way to do it. Okay? Because this calculator is set up when you do functions to enter X, not Y or Z or anything else. Okay? But notice that these keys all have something above them in yellow, but sometimes it's in aqua, sometimes it's both. Okay? Look at the store key where it has a little X that's aqua. If I want to access that X, push the aqua button first.